The SaaS landscape is on the verge of a tectonic shift. We're here to document the collapse. What you're looking at is over $300. That's the potential monthly savings we identified. And in this explainer, we're going to show you exactly how you can claim it back from your current tech stack. You know that $20 monthly subscription? Well, its time is up. And let's be clear, this isn't some far-off prediction. This is a debriefing on a paradigm shift that's happening right now. So, for 30 straight days, we conducted a forensic audit of 7 of Google's new experimental AI tools. Our starting hypothesis was simple. These free tools would probably fail when put up against specialized paid software. But, well, the data suggested the exact opposite. So, let's proceed to the evidence. First up, we're looking at core infrastructure. Now, this is the bedrock of a business, right? It's the code and logic that power everything from your website to your internal processes. So in this corner, we have Google's AI Studio, Build, and Opal, and we're putting them up against, well, the entire freelance developer economy and those expensive workflow automation subscriptions. The claim is that these tools can create web apps and automate complex tasks instantly. Let's see if that's true. We gave the system a pretty straightforward prompt in plain English. We asked it to build a functional event portal, and we even specified that it needed payment processing. No code, just one sentence. And the results were immediate. AI Studio didn't just write some code, it architected a complete, ready-to-deploy web application in a matter of seconds. At the same time, Opal took our simple English instructions and translated them into these complex internal automations, all visualized through a really clean node-based system. So our first verdict is in. Spending a ton of money on basic web development and workflow automation, those days are numbered. These free tools have essentially made that entire expense category obsolete. Okay, next up, let's tackle the content machine. You know, that constant cycle of research, writing, and design that just consumes so much time and money for any business. For this round, we're looking at a whole suite of tools: NotebookLM, pamelli, and Gemini Canvas. And they claim to replace pretty much everything, from manual research and marketing agencies all the way to specialized presentation software. That's a bold claim. We gave the system a very typical marketing task. Create an entire social media campaign for a flash sale, and just use our existing website and documents as the source material. The AI just got straight to work. It took our raw notes and turned them into a fully scripted video. It scanned our website, analyzed our brand voice, our fonts, and our exact color hex codes to generate a social campaign that was perfectly on brand. It even took our dense text-heavy reports and just restructured them into clean, presentation-ready slides. The verdict here is unavoidable. The kind of work that used to take a whole team, days, or maybe even weeks, can now be automated in just a few minutes. The old, manual way of creating content, it's officially obsolete. All right, for our final piece of evidence, we're going into the deep end of high-end creative work. We're talking about generating studio-quality images and audio, the kind of stuff that used to cost a small fortune to get made. So here, our targets are Google's internal image model and its audio synthesis engine. And we're putting them head-to-head with the big, expensive subscription platforms that I'm sure many of you are paying for right now, things like Midjourney and 11 Labs. We really wanted to test its limits to see if it could handle nuance. So we gave it acting direction. We told it to generate a high-energy conversation between two totally different personalities, one a skeptic, the other an enthusiast. The output was, frankly, it was indistinguishable from something a human would create. The images were absolutely commercial grade, with realistic lighting and textures. It even rendered text inside the images perfectly, which is a classic failure point for most other models. And the audio, it was a natural, dynamic conversation. The two AI speakers were actually responding to each other, with the exact personalities we'd asked for. So the conclusion for this final category is simple. The paywall that used to guard professional-grade creative tools, it's just been completely torn down. Your budget no longer limits your access to this kind of quality. Okay, so after a full 30-day forensic audit, after putting all of these tools through the ringer, what is the final judgment? The evidence is conclusive. As you can see laid out here, from web development all the way down to voice generation, these free tools from Google don't just compete with the paid services. In many cases, they actually outperform them. In every single test we ran, we confirmed a viable, free replacement exists. The verdict is confirmed. across the board. Look, this audit was never really about just saving a few $100s a month. It was about documenting a fundamental redistribution of power that's happening in the tech world. It makes us ask a completely new question. The question is no longer what can you afford, but what can you create? And when the tools of creation become free for everybody, who really holds the power then?